Frederick Douglass was one of the most influential social reformers and abolitionists of the 19th century. Though he was born in Maryland, Douglass chose Rochester as his adopted home, where his legacy can be found today. Visitors to Rochester can walk the same streets and sidewalks that Douglass did and visit many of the significant places of his life. The Talman Building, where Douglass published the abolitionist newspaper, The North Star, still stands on Main Street in downtown Rochester.
This is where Frederick operated as a publisher mainly, but also as an Underground Railroad operative. Because indeed, sometimes he would come in the morning and sitting on the doorstep would be someone who had probably come off a boat the night before, waiting for him to arrive. Douglass himself would take them to Kelsey's Landing, and they would proceed on to Canada.
Kelsey's Landing on the Genesee River was the last stop on the Underground Railroad, where Douglass would help fugitive slaves board boats and cross Lake Ontario. Douglass also spoke in favor of women's suffrage and became good friends with another famous agitator of that era, Susan B. Anthony. Their friendship is celebrated in the sculpture, Let's Have Tea, in a park near Anthony's home.
These were two serious fighters, Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass. They fought the same cause for the most of their lives, freedom for everyone. Since that occupied so much of their time, they would have to, on occasion, let's have tea, and therefore keep the friendship going.
Although Douglass spent his final years in Washington, D.C., his funeral was held in his adopted home of Rochester, at the Central Presbyterian Church, now the home of the Hochstein School of Music. Frederick Douglass is still honored in the city he considered home. His statue, the first statue in the country to memorialize an African-American citizen, stands overlooking the historic Highland Park, home of Rochester's Lilac Festival. In the summer, educators and historians bring Frederick Douglass and the Underground Railroad to life by offering history tours of downtown Rochester. Visitors can also follow the Heritage Trail, stopping at the important landmarks of both Douglass's life and the history of Rochester. Frederick Douglass and his family are buried in the historic Mount Hope Cemetery.
Douglass's remains were brought back here for burial because he had always said that there's no place that he felt more honored or welcome than in Rochester. How could a man rise so high in the world? Determination, the grace of God, yes, but determination on his part took him farther than one could have imagined in that day. And therefore we have the opportunity to introduce him to people from around the world who come and visit. They could learn something about determination as reflected in this being we call Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, also known as Frederick Douglass.